everyone. Welcome back to Real World English. I'm Emma, and I'm here with...
Jake. Hey there, everyone. And today we're going to talk about something that, well, honestly, it's something we all do, right? Going to the supermarket.
Exactly. And you know what? For English learners, the supermarket can actually be pretty intimidating at first. Like, there's so much vocabulary, so many different situations where you might need to ask for help.
Oh, absolutely. I remember when I was learning Spanish and I went to a supermarket in Barcelona for the first time, I was like completely lost. I didn't know how to ask where anything was.
Right. So today, we're going to give you all the essential phrases you need to feel confident when you're shopping for groceries in English. We'll cover everything from, well, asking for help, to checking out, to dealing with those awkward moments when you can't find something.
Yeah, and we're going to make it super practical too. Like, these aren't phrases you'll find in a textbook necessarily. These are the real phrases that native speakers actually use when they're shopping.
Exactly. So let's jump right in. Jake, where do you think we should start?
Well, I think the first thing that happens when you walk into a supermarket is you realize you have no idea where anything is. So let's start with asking for directions and asking for help.
Perfect. So the most basic phrase, and probably the one you'll use most often, is, "Excuse me, where can I find..." And then you just add whatever you're looking for.
Right, so like, excuse me, where can I find the bread? Or, excuse me, where can I find the milk? Super simple, super useful.
And you know what's great about that phrase? It works for everything. You can say, "Excuse me, where can I find the bathroom?" Or, "Excuse me, where can I find aisle 5?" It's so versatile.
Absolutely. Now, another really common way to ask is, do you know where the is? So like, do you know where the cereal is? Or do you know where the frozen food section is?
That's good. And it sounds a little more casual, like more conversational than "where can I find?"
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're asking a friend for help rather than, I don't know, making a formal request.
And sometimes you might not know the exact name of what you're looking for. Like, maybe you want something, but you only know how to describe it.
Oh, that's such a good point. So you can say something like, I'm looking for something to clean the kitchen with. Or I need something for a headache.
Right. Or even, "I'm looking for that thing that..." And then you describe it. Like, "I'm looking for that thing that you use to open cans." And they'll know you mean a can opener.
Exactly. Native speakers do that all the time. We forget words too, you know? So don't worry if you can't remember the exact term, just describe it.
Now, what about when someone gives you directions? Like, what are the typical responses you might hear?
Ah, good question. So usually they'll say something like, it's in aisle 3, or it's over there by the dairy section. They might point and say, just go straight and turn left.
Or sometimes they'll say, "It should be right next to the..." whatever. Like, "It should be right next to the pasta." Or, "It should be on the shelf below the peanut butter."
And if you didn't catch what they said, which happens to everyone, by the way, you can just say, sorry, could you repeat that? Or, which aisle was that again?
Totally. And don't be embarrassed about asking them to repeat it. Like, supermarkets are noisy places. And sometimes the person talking to you has a strong accent or they're speaking quietly.
Right, it's totally normal. Okay, so let's move on to, what about asking about prices? That's something everyone needs to know how to do.
Yes. So the most straightforward way is just, "How much is this?" And you can point to whatever you're holding or looking at.
Exactly. Or, what's the price on this? If you want to sound a little more formal. But honestly, how much is this works perfectly in almost every situation.
And sometimes you can't find a price tag, right? So you can say, "I don't see a price on this," or "This doesn't seem to have a price."
Oh, that happens all the time. And usually what they'll do is they'll either tell you the price right away or they'll say something like, let me check that for you. And then they'll scan it or look it up.
Right. And what about comparing prices? Like, if you're trying to decide between two similar products.
Ah, good one. So you might say, which one is cheaper? Or, is this one more expensive than that one? And they'll usually help you figure out which is the better deal.
Or sometimes you might ask, are these on sale? Because, well, who doesn't love a good deal, right?
Absolutely. And they might say, yes, they're buy one, get one free, or they're 20% off, or just, no, those are regular price.
Now let's talk about the checkout process, because that's where a lot of the real interaction happens, you know?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So when you get to the checkout, first thing that usually happens is the cashier will greet you. They might say, hi, how are you today? Or just, hello.
Right, and you can just respond with, good, thanks, or fine, how about you? You don't need to get into a long conversation. It's just polite small talk.
Exactly. Then they'll start scanning your items, and at some point they might ask, did you find everything okay? That's just a standard question. They're checking if your shopping trip went smoothly.
And you can just say, yes, thanks. Or if you had trouble finding something, you could say, actually, I couldn't find the whatever it was. But usually by the time you're at checkout, you've found everything you need. So just, yes, thanks, works great.
Now, here's where it gets interesting. They might ask you about bags. In some places, you have to pay for bags. So they might say, do you need bags, or would you like a bag?
Right, and you can say, yes, please. Or, no, I have my own, if you brought your own reusable bags. Or sometimes you might want to ask, how much are the bags if you're not sure?
And then comes the payment, which can be a little tricky because there are so many different ways to pay now. They might ask, how would you like to pay, or cash or card?
Yeah, so you can say, card, please, or I'll pay cash. Or even, can I use Apple Pay or whatever mobile payment system you prefer? Most places accept pretty much everything these days.
And if you're paying with a card, they might say you can insert your card now or just tap when you're ready. The card machines usually have prompts too, but it's good to know what the cashier might say.
Oh, and here's something that trips up a lot of people. They might ask, do you want cash back? This means, do you want to withdraw cash from your account as part of this transaction?
Right. So if you want cash, you can say, yes, can I get $20 back, or whatever amount you want. If you don't need cash, just say, no cash back, thanks.
And then they'll give you your receipt. They might say, here's your receipt, or would you like your receipt? Some people don't want the paper receipt if they got an electronic one.
You can say, yes, please, if you want it, or no, that's okay if you don't need it. And then usually they'll say something like, have a great day, or thanks for shopping with us.
And you can just respond with, thanks, you too, or thank you. It's just a nice way to end the interaction.
Now, let's talk about some problem situations because, well, things don't always go smoothly, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like, what if something doesn't scan properly? Or what if the price that comes up is different from what you expected?
Right. So if there's a pricing issue, you can say, I think this was marked down, or the sign said this was on sale, and they'll usually check it for you.
Or if something won't scan, you might hear them say, this isn't scanning, let me try again. Or they might ask you, do you remember what aisle this was from, to help them figure out the price?
And what if you realize you forgot something and you want to go get it quickly? You can say, oh, I forgot something. Can I leave these here and come right back?
Yeah, and they'll usually say, sure, no problem. Or, of course, most cashiers are pretty understanding about stuff like that.
Now, what about returns or exchanges? That's a whole different conversation, but let's cover the basics.
Okay, so if you need to return something, you'd usually go to customer service, not the regular checkout. And you'd say, I'd like to return this, please, and then explain why, like it was expired or I bought the wrong size.
Right. And they might ask, do you have your receipt? Because that makes the return process much easier. If you don't have it, you can say, no, I lost my receipt, and they'll try to help you anyway.
Let's also talk about some polite expressions that they just make the whole experience smoother, you know? Like little phrases that show you're being courteous.
Oh, that's so important. So always start with excuse me when you're trying to get someone's attention, and always say thank you or thanks when someone helps you.
Exactly. And if someone's in your way, like if you need to reach something behind them, you can say, excuse me, could I just, and they'll move. Or, sorry, could I squeeze by?
And if you bump into someone or accidentally get in their way, just a simple sorry or oops, sorry works perfectly.
You know what else is really helpful? Learning the names of the different sections of the store. Like you've got your produce section, your dairy section, your frozen foods.
Right. And the deli, the bakery, the meat department. If you know these terms, you can ask more specific questions like, where's your deli counter? Instead of just, where's the cheese?
And speaking of the deli, that's a place where you'll definitely need some specific phrases. You might say, "Can I get half a pound of turkey?" Or, "Could I have a quarter pound of ham sliced thin?"
Oh, good point. And they might ask you, how thick would you like it? And you can say medium or thin or thick. And they'll usually let you try a sample by saying, would you like to try a piece?
That's such a nice service. You can say, "Yes, please," if you want to try it, or "No, thanks, I'm good," if you already know you like it.
Now, let's talk about something that's, well, it's kind of cultural, but it's important to know. In American supermarkets, especially, people are generally pretty friendly and helpful.
Right. Like if you look lost or confused, someone might just walk up to you and ask, "Can I help you find something?" And that's totally normal. They're just being nice.
Exactly. You can just say, yes, actually, I'm looking for, and tell them what you need. Or if you don't need help, no, I'm okay, thanks, is perfectly fine.
And you know what? Don't be afraid to make small talk. Like if you're waiting in line, you might chat with the person next to you about, I don't know, how busy the store is or the weather.
Oh, yeah. You might say something like, wow, it's really busy today. And they might respond with, yeah, I think everyone's getting ready for the weekend or something like that. It's just friendly conversation.
All right, Jake, I think we've covered a lot of ground here. Let's do a quick recap of the most essential phrases our listeners should remember.
Great idea. So for asking for help, excuse me, where can I find, and do you know where the is? Those two will get you pretty much anywhere in the store.
For prices, how much is this? Simple and effective. And for the checkout, just be ready for how would you like to pay and do you want cash back?
And remember to always be polite. Excuse me, thank you, please, and sorry will make every interaction go smoothly.
The most important thing to remember is don't be afraid to ask for help. Supermarket employees are there to help you, and most customers are friendly too. Everyone wants you to have a good shopping experience.
Absolutely. And you know what? The more you practice these phrases, the more natural they'll become. So next time you're at the supermarket, challenge yourself to use some of these expressions.
That's a wrap for today's episode. Thanks so much for joining us on Easy Peasy English. I'm Emma.
And I'm Jake. Don't forget to subscribe if you found this helpful, and let us know in the comments what other everyday situations you'd like us to cover in future episodes.
Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and remember, English really can be easy peasy.
See you next time.